Welcome to Awaken the Mind, the NLP and Hypnosis Guide, hosted by David Uhas.
You're listening to Awaken the Mind, the NLP and Hypnosis Guide, a podcast that inspires the curious to the professional to discover meaningful content and pursue their passions. My name is David Uhas, and I'm a master NLP practitioner and hypnotist, best known for losing over 100 pounds and running 6 marathons in 2 years. And I'm sitting down with hypnotists, NLP practitioners, and coaches to talk about their process, the lessons they've learned, and how to make an impact in the lives of others. Today's guest is a soulful singer, songwriter, spiritual hypnotherapist, Reiki energy healer, sound bowl therapist, and inspirational speaker, among many other ways she expresses herself. Her sole purpose is to be a light for others so that they too may see and help awaken the glow within so they can shine their light fully and freely. Jourdan has a unique perspective on healing from the inside out. With over 8 years of experience in the health and wellness field, she has worked with hundreds of clients, leading them through transformations of physical body, weight loss through nutrition, mind, mindset reset, EFT tapping, and soul, spiritual hypnotherapy, and PLR and LBL. She holds a degree in songwriting and vocal performance from Berklee College of Music, specialty hypnosis certifications in past life regression and life between lives, along with mindfulness and smoking cessation, and is trained in multiple forms of transformational coaching. Jourdan is the founder and creator of Awaken the Glow and offers customized healing sessions that combine different modalities, strategies, and tools to give clients the breakdowns and breakthroughs their souls have been waiting for. Her 16-week Spirit School beta program is her greatest achievement yet in the healing realm. Integrating her multiple modalities, Jourdan has mastered the vibration in the instrument of the human body. As a graduate of Berklee College of Music, her original songs have been placed on TV shows and have radio airplay around the world. Her latest single, Dead Sober, births the new genre, pop conscious, with a message to feel everything, no matter what. As of November 1st, Jourdan is 3 years sober. She now gives inspirational keynotes and mentors others to live their best lives, giving her all into living out her passion. Here, with her musical partner, Johnny Vallone, all the way from sunny Los Angeles, is Jourdan Rystrom. And please welcome Jourdan and Johnny singing Break Intimacy.
I'm not afraid to love you. I'm not afraid to care. And every time you hold me accountable for all the things I've said and done, please know this is for real. Nothing can ever come close to da 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 da. Heaven knows I can't live without you. I've gotta let it out. You can know everything about me, and all I see is you. This feeling of trust and truth. Won't you just let me in now? Ooh, da 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 da, da 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 da. Ooh, da 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 da, da 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 da. Break into me, break intimacy. Won't you just let me see your truth? Break into me, break intimacy. We're both learning something new. Break into me, break intimacy. Won't you just let me see your truth? Break into me, break intimacy. We're both learning something new. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Ooh. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Ooh, hey, hey, hey. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Ooh, hey, hey, hey. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Break into me, break intimacy. Won't you just let me see your truth? Break into me, break intimacy. We're both learning something.
Yay! That was wonderful. Oh my goodness. Hello, Jordan and Johnny. How are you two doing?
Yeah. We're good.
That one, we've never sang it in that key before.
Yep.
That was wrong capo.
That was the wrong. So we just did a show. We do a show every Wednesday, and at the end of every show we do 2 songs. And
Right.
so the capo was left on the guitar in that position, and for whatever reason, it looked right to me. So I didn't move it. And as soon as we hit that first chord, I'm just like, oh, we are way higher than we should be right now.
But it still sounded good, right?
Absolutely, yes. You're like, we're gonna do this.
We're looking at each other. I'm like, I got this smile on my face. I'm like, I'm not gonna swear, but we're doing this.
We're
you
doing
know?
this. These notes if we have to. It's real high for me.
You guys are always doing those live videos. I am working on getting the courage. So you are so inspiring. You're like, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
David, it's really, it's so activating, it generates that adrenaline rush. You push the live button and it's really scary at first, but then once you do it and you start getting practice, like we started back in April with the live videos. Actually, I received the message in hypnosis to start doing Facebook Lives to improve my music career. That was the answer for my next step for music. And so back in April, I come to Johnny, I'm like, hey, let's do Facebook Live because it's kind of a big thing right now, and I think we should hop on it. And it's going to allow us to really express ourselves in a new way and allow ourselves to be seen, which is scary. It's scary to be seen. And so we hopped on, and that episode 1 was mid-April, and now today was episode 32.
32. We've done this for, is that eight months?
We've been showing up since April, so however
that's
many
about
months that is.
That's about 8 months.
But every single week, every Wednesday at 3:33 p.m. PST, because we're in LA,
right.
We show up and we have an audience, that from around the world tuning in. We have Iceland, we have the UK, we have Australia, Cambodia,
Chicago.
We have, people from all over the world tuning in at our time, and we've had. Yeah, it's been so amazing and has led us to meet our manager and just all these, it's led me to meet you, to go to Hypno Thoughts. And
so true.
That's right.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, I just got to get the elephant out of the room. We've got some wonderful colors going on today. It's our mood light today.
We
right?
have no idea what is going on. There's no lighting in here.
Yeah,
it's
I like it.
It is. I think Mercury retrograde started yesterday, and that's when like all of the electronics are supposed to be wonky.
Could totally do that.
And our energy, my energy always messes things up, electronically. So we'll just leave it to that.
Right. Okay, so let's jump into. I want to get to know you two. Tell me about. And either of you jump in about growing up. How did music influence you growing up?
Yeah, I'll start. So I grew up in Minnesota in a small town and right out about 20 minutes north of St. Paul. And so I grew up with a mom and a dad and a little sister, and my father was the musician in the family. And we play with his guitar now. And my dad, growing up, I always idolized him and followed everything he did because he would perform at coffee shops and small venues around the Twin Cities area. And he was an amazing singer-songwriter, just really writing from the soul, and here to help people heal. And so I grew up, going to coffee shops, singing with him, and also being inspired through his creation and through my dad really being this stand-up human being and this amazing person of expressing himself no matter what and being this super funny guy. He inspired me to really live out my dreams in music and go for what I want to do in life. So I think I was 12 years old when I landed my first lead role in a musical at Bethel College. I was Mary Lennox in The Secret Garden. And so that was fun. I was like, oh, it's my first ever audition, land the lead role, so that began this trajectory of success and leadership, as a child, and, stepping into those shoes and then continuing to perform with my dad.
And a bit of a diva, a 12-year-old at that, let's be honest.
What?
What are you talking about? Isn't that me? But just so much fun growing up, just being able to do what I love. And, not many kids grow up with their parents being like, hey, here's a free pass, do what you love, be creative, we support that. But I, so graciously received those, was born into those parents and people who supported me no matter what I did. And so I think I wrote my first song at age 13, and it's called Just Love. And that's when my whole world kind of turned topsy-turvy, because my father, who was, like I said, an amazing musician and my, role model, he was also an alcoholic and a drug addict and struggled with many years of addiction and self-sabotage. And so, as much as I looked up to my father, there were also moments where he would just be hiding, and, we have to go find him in bars at night, hoping that he would be able to come home safe and not hurt himself or anyone else. And so he lived in such fear, but it also channeled through such beautiful music. And when I was 13 years old, he actually was on a smoke break at work. He smoked cigarettes, hence why I do smoking hypnotherapy now. And he fell over on a smoke break and had a seizure and a cardiac arrest, which left his heart stopped for 23 minutes before the paramedics could get it started again. And so in those, fatal 23 minutes that are so important for the brain to have oxygen, it shut down everything, and he was in the ICU for 72 hours. After that, paramedics, the doctors told us that he had a 10% chance of ever waking up, and by the 72-hour mark, if he hadn't woken up by then, there was no chance of him ever coming back and to say our goodbyes. Now, this was the moment when I first started hearing messages from, what I call God. You can call it source, higher self, but that's when I received my first message that he's not going to die. He's not going to die. He's going to walk you down the aisle at your wedding. Everything's good. This is not the end for him. And I kept hearing that repeated over and over again in my head. And I was just like, okay, I got this message. And I went to my mom and I was like, hey mom, he's not going to die. And I was like happy. And, everyone's weeping and crying, thinking that, saying their goodbyes to my father. The minister's there at the bed. Everyone's standing there. The doctors are about to pull the ventilator out, and for him to pass. And my mom's holding his hand saying, Todd, open your eyes, Todd. And I'm sitting there and I start singing at the foot of the bed, Amazing Grace. And he opens his eyes. Oh. And it was this beautiful revelation of, I can trust that voice. I can, trust that, whether you want to call it intuition or source or universe, it's that voice within that we need to connect back to. And that is the source of our, our happiness, our truth, and our light. And so from then on, my father has been rehabilitating over the years. He's still, to this point, I always say, for lack of better words, he's 3 steps up from a vegetable. So he lives in a nursing home. He needs 24-hour care. Because of the anoxic brain injury and the traumatic brain injury that was caused, he needs 24-hour support, but we communicate not only on this physical plane. He's back in Minnesota. I'm here in LA. But we also communicate on a spiritual plane. And that is why I got into all of these healing modalities, especially hypnosis, to communicate with him and to help others heal as well, because, you know, the subconscious mind is so powerful. It holds all of our beliefs, memories, everything. And so fast forward, that was when I was 13. So that was a huge, like, you know, experience in my life, becoming, you know, the second mother in the household, taking care of my sister. My mom had to go back to work, and life became a little crazy, but I also stepped up and was like, okay, I'm going to do my music because I want to continue on my father's legacy. You know, he had something to say. I also have something to say. And it's really important to, you know, to speak, you know, and to speak those words through the 12, right? We just watched a movie and it said, however you speak those words through the 12 notes is what you're here to say as an artist.
Nice.
And so I went through high school, you know, still doing all the musicals and singing and performing, and it's just so much fun. And then I got a scholarship to attend Berklee College of Music, where I studied in Boston. It was amazing. It's where I felt like I really grew up, you know, and living those 3 years there, studying songwriting, vocal performance. And I also studied music therapy for a while before dropping that major and just focusing on the other two. And then I moved out to LA. And so that's kind of like my growing up story. And then once we get to LA, we can chat more.
Nice. Well, Johnny, how about you growing up?
Growing up, so I'm from Chicago, and
What?
Yeah.
I'm from Illinois. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What part? What part of Illinois?
Down by Champaign. It's actually Danville, but it's near Champaign, about 30 minutes from Champaign.
Oh yeah. I've been to U of I.
I've been there too.
Oh, cool. Oh my goodness. Small world.
We'll come through when we go on tour in the Midwest.
Please do. Please do.
Sure. So I grew up in Chicago, and I was raised on a kind of not really a musical family. But my dad played guitar, and he was really influential in 80s pop and the Beatles and that side of things. And my mom was super into the oldies. So I can, like, any song in 1950 to 59, I probably can sing right back to you.
Wow.
So I know all that stuff really well. And then I got into musical theater growing up, just listening to different things in grade school. In high school, I started doing the musicals. But I had a good ear for music, and I could sing as a little kid. So I did radio commercials. I did a bunch of radio jingles when I was younger at a studio in downtown Chicago. And then when I got to about 19 or so, it was really big in the pop world, especially in like the boy band world and things like that. Yeah, so I went through a bunch of little phases, but at one point I had put together, you might not even know this, I put together my own little male vocal pop group.
Backstreet Boys like kind of?
Is it what?
Like Backstreet Boys kind of thing?
Yeah, oh gosh.
It was a fun little group.
That's amazing.
It did not last very long because of some turmoil within the members. But that was my first. It took me about 8 months to put that group together, like through auditions and whatnot. And when I finally had the group, we went in, we recorded like one song that I wrote. And shortly after that, there was a fight, and then one guy left the group, and other guys were upset. And I'm just like, all right, that's it, we're done. But that was what sparked my songwriting. So then from there, I picked a guitar. I went to Indiana University for a school of music. And then I just kept writing in different things. And I realized that I just wanted to be a songwriter. I just wanted to write and write and write and write. And it wasn't until I met this one, which we'll get to the LA story at some point.
Yes.
But it wasn't until I met this one that I was just like, maybe I do want to do the artist thing.
Yeah. And that was just recently.
And that was really just recently, within the last,
2-3 years.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Yeah.
So, but then, then I guess now we're both in LA at this point in the story. But yeah, I just been trying to discover myself as an artist most recently, but writing since I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be an artist since like 3 years old. My mom has a home video of me. She's like, Jourdan, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like naked with a bucket on my head. And I'm like, I want to be a singer-songwriter living in Hollywood Hills. And then boom, baby, manifest that shit,
Oh yeah.
And it's funny you said that. We never connect on the boy band because I actually created a girl band in my high school, and I showed you a photo of it the other day when we were all standing there.
And
Like,
wait, how old are you?
Barbershop quartets and pop songs. I was in high school.
Oh, all right.
I was young, like 16, 17.
Like little kids.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, you know, we learn things about each other in every interview.
That's right. This is great. I'm enjoying this. This is awesome. How did you get there?
Okay, cool. So, so now we're both in LA respectively in our timelines, right? So I went from Minnesota to Boston to LA. He went from Chicago to Indiana to LA, right? So now,
Chicago to Indiana, back to Chicago for a minute, then to LA when I decided that I need to make a big change.
Yeah. So he had been in LA a few more years than I had, but fast forward now to 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in LA. I just finished Berkeley. He's in LA.
I'm in LA. I had just finished.
Writing.
So I was a head songwriter for a kids television show, and I did that for about 3 years. And I'd written like 70 songs for kids songs, like ages 2 to 6,
Mm-hmm.
which was a blast, super fun. But that had ended, and then from there I moved to a hip hop education project, which is sort of like Schoolhouse Rock but all hip hop. And I did that for about 3 years. That ended. Everything comes in threes.
I know.
And then
Our cycle's coming up.
exactly. And then it was about 2012 or so, and that's when you can take it from there.
Yeah. So 2012. We have no idea how we met.
We cannot remember how we met. We've been trying to figure this out.
Like,
we've talked to multiple people. We've looked at emails.
we went back through all the Facebook messages and just nothing. No way,
Nope.
shape, or
Do not
form.
remember.
So I believe that it was a miracle, and we were like just brought together, and poof, you know, that's everything happens for a reason.
I don't believe that, because I remember in my head that somehow we were in her apartment writing a song.
I know, but I think that like it was a miracle. It just went poof.
I
and we
didn't
were there.
manifest in your apartment.
Yeah, I think you did. I really think you
Maybe.
did. Because I don't remember the rest of that night, other than we just wrote a great song and cooked dinner.
So that was 2012.
Yeah, so 2012 we met up, and the intention was like kind of a songwriting session / meet and greet,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. We didn't know each other.
And it was a good session.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything great, but it was like good enough to where we were like, we should do this again sometime.
Well, it was also good enough to where we thought we were so good that we should create a songwriting team together.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the song, believe me, I still don't think the song is that good either. But we gelled. We gelled so much, you know, our personalities.
Yes.
Geminis too. That
It was good. There was good moments, and there was enough for us to be like, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can make more of these songs.
Yes.
So like any good LA story, 3 years later go by.
Fast forward 3 years.
All right, hold on a second. All right, I'm with you.
We had never communicated in 3 years, and that was just a one-time meeting. And we get back together in 3 years later. Now, within those 3 years, that was your hip hop project.
So that was the hip hop project.
We both, so just for clarification, in those 3 years that we missed, you know, talking to each other, we both had like super dark nights of the soul. We went through lots of turmoil, trials and tribulations, and his was.
It was just a bad business transaction through a music thing that I thought was going to be something bigger than it ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of like negativity that goes with the music industry, and you try to kind of keep that away as much as you can, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. So I had to walk away from something that was just so difficult, and it was the most amount of emotional pain I've ever experienced through music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel healthy. I can't do this. And I literally I walked away from money and opportunity and all this just because I'm just like, this is no longer me.
Yeah.
I'm not in this. I'm not feeling it here anymore.
So he had a musical burnout.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we met, and then a year later after we met and had disconnected in 2013, I released 2 original songs that were placed on worldwide TV shows. So I had this little tidbit of success where I had 15,000 song downloads overnight from people Shazamming my music, from hearing it on this major soap opera that was around the world. and the song was on repeat. And I had a fan club and like people sending me fan art and letters and like, your song helped me get over my ex. Thank you so much. And these were 2 songs that I had written myself.
Wow.
And they just through networking and magic and, you know, all that good stuff. A friend of a friend placed the songs on the show, and it was all like kind of an overnight thing, even though I had been working my entire life up to that point.
Wow.
Now that success triggered something in me. It triggered a fear of success. And, you know, people always talk about fear of failure, and I get that, but I fail all the time. I fail forward. I talk about it. I think we can learn from our failures, but I was so deathly afraid of success because with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Right.
And what happens if you're there? You're on this platform to speak to the world. You know, like Katy Perry with one tweet can speak to the masses, millions of people. And I always think about that. And I'm like, it is what I wanted. But as we know, as hypnotherapists, you know, and working with neurological systems, if you've got those fears, those are major blocks for moving you forward.
Yeah.
And so back then I was 22 years old, and that was a catalyst for me falling into my addiction. And so, you know, back to my dad, you know, when I was 13, struggling with drugs and alcohol, I was like, oh, I'm good. You know, that was my dad. That's not my problem. And then all of that came in and compounded when I lived in Hollywood Hills, all alone, just gone through a breakup, had some success, didn't know what I was doing, young kid, boom, drugs, alcohol, whatever you do in Hollywood, you know, give it to me, I'll take it. And I just wanted to escape. I wanted to numb. I didn't want to feel. I didn't know how to handle life. And I was so scared, so scared. And I fell into an addiction so deep that many people, honestly, I don't think anybody knew that I had a problem except for myself. And that was even harder because at least if you're like an active drunk, people are like, oh, hey, you have a problem. Let's get you help. No one knew I had a problem. And so because of that, I just suffered in silence in this like deep spiritual malady, you know, just I went so dark down the holes of gravity and, you know, just all of that stuff until November 1st, 2015. And I saw the light and just surrendered. You know, I can't, you know, it's just many little God shots, I call it. Many people coming into my life, minor car accidents, like little things that led me to just surrender and say, you know what? I don't have the answers for this. Please, God, help me. I surrender. And from that moment, any craving of taking pills, I was addicted to Adderall, the focus drug. Any craving of that or drinking or anything was just taken away from me by the grace of God. And I work a 12-step program. I'm all about, you know, mentoring others and helping keep the, you know, spirit alive and that connection alive. And so that was 2015. Then fast forward to us meeting in 2016 again. So this was 3 years later. Johnny gives me a phone call out of nowhere.
I was in that mode where I was just like, I haven't written a song in a while. I feel like I want to write something. I need a new writing partner. I want to try something. Sometimes you want to reach outside the box and do something different. So I went into my brain and I'm like, who haven't I talked to in a while? Like who's in this town? So
because you were coming out of your stuff too.
I was coming, yeah. I was just getting out of all my terrible stuff that I went through. And so I was trying to find myself a new path, a new light, new something that I was excited about again. So I said, what about that Jourdan girl? So I called her up, and she is actually on her way to go audition one more member for her a cappella group. And she's like, hey, you know what? You should come to the auditions. And I have like this weird little checklist in my head of things I want to do. Everyone's got like a bucket list of things. And for whatever crazy reason,
Johnny's bucket list
on my bucket
a cappella group.
It really was. I never did it. I never did it in college. And so I was just like, you know what? A cappella, yeah, it sounds fun. Whatever, I'll show up. So I went there, and lo and behold,
you know, as the leader of the group, I, of course, you know, fell back in love with him and his energy and his vibe and his voice.
It was a group vote.
Yeah.
It was
but,
a group
you know,
vote. Other people, you know, wanted me to be part of the group. Thank you very much.
You're amazing. But yes, we chose Johnny, and Johnny was the puzzle piece to fit into the completion of the a cappella group that I co-founded. Wow.
It was super exciting.
And we're just back. We're just clicked in again. And this was after 3 years of not speaking to each other. Clicked in, and then I was like, by the way, I'm 4 months sober. I'm new, I was newly sober. I lived in a new place. I was like super healthy. And
so we had that audition
same day,
the same exact day, right after that audition. We're like, let's write some songs. Let's see what happens. So we get together. She tells me her whole story about everything she just told you.
Well, and with an ex-boyfriend.
Oh, right. There was an ex-boyfriend.
I ended up having to leave someone who was also struggling with addiction, but he couldn't get sober. And so when I finally got sober, I was like, I got to stay healthy, do this for myself, and move on, but still have faith and hope that he can get better too, but unconditionally love from afar.
Right.
And so
she tells me that entire story. And like what songwriters usually do is they kind of talk until they get like a little vibe going, whatever. So I picked up a guitar and I said, all right, let's see what happens here. And it was about 13 minutes later, we wrote Dead Sober.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Actually, we should probably play Dead Sober right now.
Oh, we should play Dead Sober now.
Yeah, we should play it now. But we wrote it. Did you say 13 minutes, right?
It was.
We wrote the song.
If you can write something like that you're so excited about, and it only takes like 13, 15, 20, a half hour, you can go back and just make little tweaks on it. It's probably going to be something you find special.
Yes, and all of our songs that we write together are written under an hour. So mostly under 30 minutes. So we're really excited to just be, again, like pure channels of creativity and music. And music is healing. Music is energy. It's vibration. And that's what we're all made of, right? So here, without further ado, is Dead Sober. And this is our single that is out right now, which we'll get to that point in our story after we play the song. How could you leave me? How could you stay behind? Living in no place or time. When you don't know the destination. How could you do this? How could you break my heart? Didn't even get a fair start. And now I've gotta stop daydreaming, yeah. I'm dead sober through everything. I'm dead sober, I feel everything. Yeah, I'm dead sober through everything. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that I have faith, yeah. It's bigger than the both of us. I want you to know that I cried for you. Didn't even know what to do. So I just sat there and I wept. I wept for you. Dead sober through everything. Even though I cried, dead sober, I feel everything. Yeah, I'm dead sober through everything. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that I have faith, yeah. It's bigger than the both of us. Faith, yeah. I made it to the other side, but I don't see your face yet. And there's no telling where you are or where you'll be. So now it's just me. I'm dead sober through everything. It's bigger than the both of us. I want you to know. I want you to know. It's bigger than the both of us.
Oh, that is so incredible. Oh, you two are both so talented. I first met Jourdan. Well, I didn't actually meet you, but I got to witness that song at Hypnothoughts this year, 2018 in Las Vegas. And wow, you started singing and I heard that music and it just gave me goosebumps. It's a beautiful
Oh,
song.
That
thank
means
you.
so much to us.
That means so much
That's
to
awesome.
us.
And I'm actually jealous that you got to see that live. I got to see it on Facebook.
Yeah, there is a Facebook Live of the performance. And I have to tell you, David, I felt like I felt like a pop princess superstar on that stage with that dress, and I was doing my whole little diva, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey moment.
It's
You know what
funny
I
you
mean?
said Celine Dion. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm like, there's this Celine Dion thing going on.
Yes. And I
Right on.
owned that stage and I felt so confident. And I was like, this is where I belong. I belong here on stage, inspiring people like yourself who said, you felt all the feels and, reached out to me to set this interview up after hearing the song. And that's what we're here to do. And that's what I'm here to do with my music, with our music, to inspire people to feel again.
Yeah.
Right. And it's such a blessing to be able to do what you love.
Yeah. It's so cool to be able to experience a song. And even though I didn't know the whole backstory yet, I just knew that there was pain there and that there was healing. And I also just want to, acknowledge you for, coming forward, because a lot of people will not come forward and talk about the experience. And I think you are such a beacon to be able to communicate to those who are going through this and to be able to see that there's another side.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really am so excited to be able to speak out about, overcoming addiction, even struggling with addiction, self-sabotage, because we all have it. We might not have a specific addiction, but we self-sabotage in so many ways. Everybody does, even if it's just down to negative thinking, being addicted to that, and that's why I, studied hypnotherapy as well, to help people with that. The 1-2 punch with the music and the healing, right? So we're working it, making it happen. And it's just really, really profound to be able to write a song about something that I went through and overcame, and taking that pain that I felt, having to leave that person, or really that person leaving me. The lyrics are, how could you leave me? How could you stay behind, living in no place or time when you don't know the destination? And that's how I felt whenever he would get high, right? Because when we, for people who can relate to getting high, like, you don't know the destination, especially when you're dealing with hard drugs. You don't know if you're going to survive. Right. And so, how could you do this? How could you break my heart? Didn't even give a fair start. And now I've got to stop daydreaming. And that was the moment of clarity for me. I'm like, okay, well, I've got to love myself first. And I've got to be dead sober through everything and feel everything, even through this breakup, even through everything in life, and it's been it's created a power anthem for people who have struggled with this stuff to stand up and stand out and get the help that they need. And I've created, we created a hashtag, Dead Sober, share your story, a whole movement around this song, because there is an epidemic right now in America, an opioid epidemic, a drug epidemic, and we're getting from this song getting out to as many people as possible. And we still want to create the possibility for this to be on Top 40 radio. I really,
for sure,
it needs to be there.
We'll keep for sure, keep pushing.
Yeah, we've been receiving messages from
David. You would not believe how many messages we get from Facebook and Instagram of people. Jordan's constantly always just sending me screenshots. She's just like, look at this. And people, after we perform it live, people come up to us afterwards, and the conversations I'm having with people, they're making me cry, which is amazing. But at the same time, I gotta go back on stage. I don't need to be crying right now.
But there's some of the deepest conversations and most intimate connections that we've made through writing our songs and through putting ourselves out there authentically. and just how amazing of connections that we can have with other human beings in this world.
Nice. So what do you two do when you're just hanging out?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, I threw that one out there.
He usually takes his shirt off and lays on the rug here because it's always hot.
It gets really hot in this place.
What is the temperature in Los Angeles?
It's like 80 degrees every day. Still up until now.
Yeah, it's right now in December. Where are we?
78.
November. We're probably shooting around 72 or so.
No, 72, 78.
78?
Like, it gets really hot. Yeah.
Maybe by me. And here?
Anyway, it's warm. It's very warm.
It's warm.
And then obviously when we sing and there's energy here,
right,
it gets warm.
And during our shows, we have to close all the windows because there's so much noise out there, so it gets really hot. And what you don't know is at the end of every Facebook Live, as soon as I know we're off air, all the clothes, I'm just like I throw my shirt off. I'm like, oh, it's so hot in here.
We're gonna have to do it behind someday. So
yes, that would be hilarious.
But yeah, we love to perform. We love to write new songs. In fact, we've written a lot of new songs since going to Nashville, which is some of our latest news. And
we had a tour.
Yeah,
we did in Nashville, right outside of Nashville.
We just let's fast forward quick to we wrote Dead Sober. Mm-hmm. We released Johnny and I decided to, after writing Dead Sober, we're like, oh, we're back bitches, like we've got this. We're like our songwriting team is back in style, and we're not going to be called J2 anymore, which is what we had originally named ourselves. We're going to call ourselves In the Key of J, thanks to Johnny.
Yes, because
I like that.
For you non-music people, there is no Key of J. So I used it on my Instagram, and Jordan saw it. She's like, oh, good, we'll just steal that. And I'm like, no, we can't steal my Instagram. And we did.
It's so good, isn't it? I was like, Jordan and Johnny, come on, like, this is great. And so we started writing songs together and realized that this duo, because we have the Jourdan Rystrom, Celine Dion, like you saw.
Adult contemporary.
We have that music.
Right.
And then we also have this indie pop duo,
right?
Little bit of country, a little bit of indie,
folk, a little bit of country, a little bit of pop.
And it's us singing together,
which is what Break Intimacy was.
Yes, the first song that we sing is Break Intimacy, and that was actually a song channeled in a dream by me about our relationship and the musical connection that we have, and how you can break intimacy, because most people think intimacy equates to sex, and we are everything but that. We're like, I say we're better than married because there's no sex. It's like the actual connection that we can have. It's like it's a real intimate connection with music and creativity and friendship. And yeah, when we do just hang out all the time when we're not performing live in front of you guys.
Right. We're either rehearsing, we're writing, we're emailing, we're promoting, we're constantly doing something. Mm-hmm. Or what she likes to do lately, which is watch Jane the Virgin.
Like I said, it's better than being married, because when you're married, you're not as happy.
Right?
Sorry, that was a dark joke.
That's
all right. That's all right.
But no, we're just really happy that we have a really great partnership. Yeah. We're on the same page, and
let's talk about this.
Oh yeah.
What we did in October, what we both did right before going to Nashville.
Oh yes, this is big.
This is huge. We both quit our jobs to do this at 120%.
That is wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah. That's the awesome.
Only way you could really get into it. The only way you can throw everything out there. If you have everything to lose,
right,
then you have that much more to gain.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And no plan B.
Yeah.
Neither of us moved out to LA to do what we were doing. And that's the big picture.
Yeah. You want to say what your day job was?
Well, I mean, I was sort of saving lives. I was the manager of a mattress store, which does in some
way. He was saving backs and butts.
Now, sleep is important, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's, it was a good job, and it was great pay. It was just sucking the soul out of all my creativity. Mm-hmm. I had about 20% left of creativity energy to do what is all I wanted to do. Yeah. And I was the director of a holistic wellness center in Brentwood for the last 7 years. And so as much as I love my job, because I was saving lives and leading transformational programs and
helping people heal themselves. Let me correct that. And, you know, just making amazing connections. As much as I loved that, it was only 70% aligned with me because it wasn't my business. I wasn't the owner. I was working under someone else for a paycheck. And I wanted to start my own business doing what I know I'm already blessed and gifted to do, which is, you know, the hypnotherapy, the Reiki, the energy work, and meld that into the music, because I've always been a musician, right? Since, like I said, 3 years old. And I've only been a healer and been able to be bestowed those healing gifts and abilities ever since I got sober. So my healing journey has only started over these past 3 years of sobriety. And so yeah, putting those together and stepping out of that day job, giving up that check, giving up the safety of the 9-to-5 paycheck, which a lot of us, even us in the field of hypnotherapy, we have like the day jobs, and then we're trying to build our practice. I let go of the day job and I was like, okay, free flying, baby, you know? And it's been a wild journey ever since. We've been attracting clients. We've been attracting angel investors with our music. We've been attracting acting gigs in telenovelas, which I watch. If anyone's watched Jane the Virgin, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh, I'm watching a show about telenovelas, and then a telenovela job just comes to me. This is great. You know, however we can express ourselves creatively, we love it. Music is number one, and we're here to make a difference.
Is that show on Netflix, by the way?
Yes, it's on Netflix, and once you get into it, you are gonna binge watch all 4 seasons.
It's very well done. I will admit.
It's smart and cute. Yeah.
Cool. I will check it out. I'm curious, do both of you either ever get anxious before you perform, or?
Oh, we have totally different answers for that.
Oh, yeah.
I personally, well, do you want to go first, or should I?
You start.
Okay, I personally do not. I think it's, you know, again, I've saved my life many times over with that practice and meditation, channeling, all of that stuff. So I'm very centered and grounded in that realm. And then also, because I've been performing since I was 3, knowing that I have this natural ability to converse with people on stage and create a connection, I just, it's second nature for me. It's in my subconscious. So I'm able to step out on stage, and actually I feel less anxious on stage than when I'm off stage.
I am the opposite.
I can relate. I was nervous just getting on this call with you two.
I will say that, although I think I'm getting better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Leaps and bounds, and when he starts his hypnotherapy, it'll be even better. I'm trying to get him to try it, but he has to want to, you know.
Right. But I think what happens is I psych myself out, where I'm just like, okay, these are the chords, don't screw that up, don't forget the capo on this one, don't and all these things are running through my head.
And by the way, there's 500 people in the audience, or 48,000 tuning in live.
No pressure.
Whatever it is. And I get all in my head about it, and then within about a minute from when things actually start happening, that's when 90% of the time I go, okay, we got this. Mm-hmm. And just everything dissipates. And then once we lock in, then we're awesome.
We have this like authentic intention and connection that we make.
We do what's called a heartbreak trilogy, which is just
we wrote 3 songs about Johnny's heartbreak.
Rough stuff. And no, I know. And what we did is we made Jourdan that girl in the story. So we just, for 3 songs, we pretty much don't lose eyes. We lock eyes. We lock eyes.
We can really create that story.
And we, like, the audience,
they love it.
They're not even there. Like, in our heads, it's just us.
It's us, but they love that.
But they love
it. Yeah, and we always perform that trilogy, not on stage. We come down into the audience for that.
We creep a little bit closer to them.
Creeping closer.
We get a little creepier.
But yeah, so we do connect, and once we're locked in, I think we're both good.
That's it.
But yeah, I've been doing this since I was little, and and he, like I said, he just decided to be open to being an artist just in the last couple of years.
So I think I'll be in about 12, 20 years, I'll be good.
Well, I think everyone handles it differently. I have a daughter that does acting, and she gets, anxious before. So it's good to hear somebody as incredible as you both, and to hear that, that's something that you experienced. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank
Totally.
you.
Yeah. And it's different for everyone. We all have our own ways, but I have found that having a meditation practice and a hypnotherapy practice for myself really, really helps eliminate anxiety and getting to the core and the root cause of why there's that anxiety there around performing. If you can clear those rocks, then you're golden.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you attract clients that are musicians?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
All of the clients that I attract that are musicians actually hire me for voice lessons or songwriting lessons.
Oh, wow.
I also teach that. So in any one day, I'll have a voice lesson, a songwriting lesson, a Reiki and crystal healing session, and then a smoking cessation client, and then a regular hypnosis client. That's like a regular day for me. If I'm seeing clients, there's client days and music days. And I love the variety. I love to just teach what I know. And I am an expert at all of those things. And I know that
Certified.
Yeah.
Certified.
And I know that people say,
right.
oh, just focus on one thing, but I can't, and I don't want to. And I'm sorry, but I'm
Because we're
going to break the mold,
Geminis, we have to just be like, you have to constantly entertain us or we will be bored.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got a little pressure here now.
No, you're great. You're great. We're entertaining ourselves, too.
Yes.
That's the problem. Most of the days, we're just like, oh, where'd those last 3 hours go?
Right.
Well, we didn't get anything done today, and then we just basically right after we quit our jobs, like literally right after I put my 2 weeks in, and the next day.
Oh, it happened in Vegas. It hit no thoughts when we were in a hot tub and decided to leave our jobs. So this is all intertwined with Hypno Thoughts.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's from there.
You're right.
Johnny, I flew Johnny out to Vegas for our Wednesday live show.
That's right. Okay.
And then in the hot tub of the Orleans hotel, we decided to leave our jobs together.
And initially it was December 15th because I looked at my calendar and I said,
he's a planner.
December 15th is good because we can quit our jobs. I can go back to Chicago for the holidays. And then in January, we can rock and roll. And I'll be freaking transparent about this. I'm telling them everything. But she was really hesitant about leaving December 15th.
I'll be honest, yeah.
She didn't want to. She was freaking out.
Because it was a job that I had for 7 years. And
Right.
I was the director of the job. Like, other than the boss who's paying the bills, like, I ran the business. I built a small business up over the past 7 years and branded it and built everything from the ground up, including the programs. So leaving a job of 7 years with a stable paycheck, it's going to caused me, there's my anxiety. It caused me some anxiety and some triggers, a lot of triggers of that safety, right? And that comfort.
Right.
And Johnny.
But I told her, I said, if I'm doing this, you have to do this. We both have to do this.
And he goes, I need you, Jourdan. I need you to commit.
Right.
Wow.
So she committed to December 15th. And then just a couple weeks later, she calls me up and then says this.
I call him up and I'm like, so I decided to start my own school, my own online healing school called Spirit School, where it's going to be 16 weeks of online group coaching and healing and everything I've ever learned with my partner, Sarah Longoria. We're going to put into this online group healing school, which is going to be led on Zoom, 90-minute phone calls once a week for 16 weeks. So it's 1 hour, it's 2 hours out of my day per week for the school, but I love it and I'm passionate about it. And by the way, because of that, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice now.
That was September.
Wow.
And so because by building this school, which I'm, so passionate about healing, of course. And I was like, I got to let go of the job now because I need to filter it into building the school out. And then also our music, of course. And so I called him. I was like, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice like tomorrow. And he's like, because he picked December 15th, right? He had it all plotted out.
I wanted to make money for 3 more months to feel a little bit better about leaving everything.
And I was like, but then that's 3 more months of us not being heard and not being seen, And so I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I will never forget this. I was still at work at the job that day after putting my notice, and I texted him. I said, I did it. Oh my gosh, it went really well. I expected my, boss to be mad, but he was kind of happy for me, and I think it's going to be okay. And then he called me and he was like, tell me all about it. How'd you feel? Like what happened? And I'm of course telling him. And then he comes over. I was teaching a voice lesson back at home because I'm, doing all the things. And he shows up outside my apartment here and texts me. He goes, hey, put your clothes on, come downstairs, and I've got a surprise for you. And I was like, okay, first of all, my clothes are on. I don't know why you think they're off, but it's hot in here. It is hot in here.
She does not wear a whole lot of clothes when she's by herself. There's something else. And so he's like, come downstairs. So I go downstairs, get in the car, and he's like, hey, and he's playing it off like, he's like, I'm so happy. He's like, let's celebrate you tonight. I'm so happy that you made the plunge. To quit your job. He's like, I'm gonna take you out to dinner to our favorite place. And so we start driving, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. We get into the parking lot of this restaurant, and he goes, hold on a sec. I have something to show you. And he goes ahead and plays like a voice memo recording of him putting in his 2-week notice as well.
Wow.
So I could hear him doing it, and his boss response. And I was like, oh my God, you did it too.
Oh my
So he surprised me with the fact that he had done it too. And no wonder he was calling me. How did you feel? How was it going? And now here we are.
Here we are.
We had our first supper the last supper that night of, being committed to our jobs. And that was end of September.
That was the end of September. And then in October, we did our trip. It was like right when my 2 weeks were gone. The next day, I packed my bag. She was coming in from a conference from Florida, and we both met up in Nashville, and we had a 10-day trek around there. We had a benefit concert. We had a radio station. We had 2 radio stations. We
had 2 on-air interviews, and we performed dead air. We performed Dead Sober live on air, 2 different radio stations, and we have a manager now who planned us this mini tour in Nashville, and since that trip, that manager has introduced us to 2 other producers.
Nice.
So we're talking to people, like everything. Honestly, what it comes down to, which is crazy saying it out loud, but everything kicked into high gear when we both left our jobs.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, it's opening, it's cutting the cords, it's opening up the energy for the universe to give us what we want, and saying, okay, you're very clear now with what you want. Here it comes.
Yeah.
And, I believe in the law of attraction, and we have a prayer that we say jointly every day.
I didn't say it today. This is the first day since I haven't said it. We'll say it right after this interview.
We'll say it right after, yeah. And it's great. It's a great prayer. Everything happens. But look, today's been amazing. So
it's been great.
We've been.
I know.
It works.
We're good.
It works.
We're good.
It works over time. But yeah, so, manifesting miracles daily and expecting miracles. That's the thing. It's having faith the size of a mustard seed. So little, but also so big that you can move mountains with that faith. And with that massive faith and the aligned action, anything is possible. And so, we expect miracles daily, and we say, this or better, show me the greatest thing I could never even imagine. And then that's when it all comes in. Yeah. And it's been such a beautiful journey. And then in Nashville, we wrote 2 new songs. And so we have one to perform for you today.
Yeah.
Please. I would love to hear.
Okay.
You perform again.
Actually, it's funny that you'd love to hear, because that's the name of the song. The song is called Here, but H-E-R-E.
So the way that, Jourdan and I, we channel things when we need to. Yeah, let's find that.
Is there a capo?
Yep, let's find it actually.
Let's get the right capo
We
this
gotta
time.
find the capo. Hang on one second. We're sitting on it, I think. Oh my God. All right, got it. You can edit that part out. So we do a lot of channeling now. We both get inspired by different things. And I was watching a Packers game. I'm from Chicago, but half of my family's in Milwaukee. So I constantly got to watch the Packers, not to mention I have Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy football team, which is also, very important. So I was watching a Packers game. I was working out and whatever. And I had this idea for this song. And so I grabbed my phone and I sang it, sang the song.
Instantly,
just channeled it. And for 90% of it was there, but it wasn't magical yet. And I'm just let me hang on to this. And it was our last day in Nashville. It was a long week. I was burned out. I wasn't in a mood. She was really let's write. I'm like, I don't, And so I grabbed my phone and I said, I have this, I like this, let's see what we could do with this. And it became.
And then literally I just sang it. Remember, you played it once.
Yeah.
And then then I sang it through. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
Like literally one time singing through.
Like we just like it just needed a little bit of a tweak. It needed a harmony. It needed this or whatever, and we just here it is.
So this is called Here. You want to sit so we're facing each other?
Oh God.
Like scoot that way.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Here we go.
This is my good side.
Well, this is my good side. That's another reason that we're meant to be here. This is called Great. Our newest song.
She wants to know. She wants to know what I am looking for. Empty inside. Empty inside, but I am searching for something tells me, something tells me I am not going at this alone. Maybe soon we're gonna, maybe soon we're gonna make this our home. Something tells me I am not going at this alone. Maybe soon we're gonna, maybe soon we're gonna make this our home. Maybe soon we're gonna make this our home.
Wonderful. Oh, that's beautiful harmony there. I love that.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed how quickly you guys are able to put these songs together. That's incredible.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah.
We kind of impress ourselves. You know, we're like, literally, we'll be like, we don't know how we did that. It just happened.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's really just, we at this point, we're kind of vessels for something else that's just channeling through us.
Nice.
So we're like, let's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Might as well just keep doing it. We love it, so let's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, what are you guys doing next performance-wise? What do you got coming up?
Yeah.
We've got performances in LA. We have a show December 4th at the Viper Room. We're performing there on Sunset, and we've got lots of gigs planned. We're doing like keynote speeches and performances at different, actually HypnoBiz New York.
Is that December or January?
That's next year.
January, February?
No, HypnoBiz is in May, but in February we have 2 performances in San Diego. It's a Think Better, Live Better Expo.
Think Better, Live Better.
We're performing there. We're also maybe performing at Live Your Message. So there's a lot of like bigger things we have plotted. In terms of the smaller shows, we actually play on Santa Monica Promenade at least once a week now going forward. So we're live. If anyone's ever in LA, reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram at Jourdan Rystrom, and find us on Facebook. Just reach out to me directly. I'll let you know when we're performing.
Yep.
But at least once a month we do live shows in LA.
Yep.
But you can find us every single week on Facebook.
333 PST. It even rhymes.
We have a live show where we vlog for 10 minutes. We talk about our life and what's happening with our music. And then we have a fun little interactive game for everyone who's tuning in. Song A versus song B, which cover do you want us to perform? And everybody that votes on it can say.
That's right.
And then we end with an original every single week.
How much fun. That's so much fun. And it's free.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Awesome.
Come on, join us.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And
Thank you, David,
I
for having
invite our listeners, please check Johnny and Jourdan out on Facebook, and I'll include all the links on our page so that they can find you. And you two are just such a blessing. I thank you so much. I love you. You two are just so inspiring, and I feel wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for having us on your platform so that we're able to spread our message even farther.
Yeah.
And thank you also for sharing Dead Sober far and wide. It's on every major platform right now, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you listen to music, Dead Sober is there. So please share that with, all the listeners. Allow that to speak to you and share that with your friends and family, because you never know whose life it could save or who it could help. And we're here. We're always here to talk and connect. We love connecting with our fans and friends. And thank you so much for having us on today. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you, Jourdan and Johnny.
Thank you for joining us today with Awaken the Mind, hosted by David Juhas.
Awaken the mind, you need to understand. If you can't, you must, and if you must, you can. Now that I got you, let me put you in a trance. Got you feeling hypnotic, your mind, let me massage it. Your thoughts are getting quiet, your stress subsiding. You starting to see images, but it ain't no mirages. Think it's time to calibrate. Take a breath and concentrate. Get into your subconscious. Time to feel the energy, the brain waves. Let's go deep into your memory. Beware of self, let the worries melt. All you see is you and you don't see no one else. Auditory digital, talking to yourself. It might seem bizarre, a feeling you never felt. This is your time to shine. Awaken the mind, the NLP and hypnosis guide. Yeah, come on. Yeah, relax. Awaken the mind, you need to understand. If you can't, you must, and if you must, you can. Now that I got you, let me put you in a trance. Got you feeling hypnotic, your mind, let me massage it. Your thoughts are getting quiet, your stress subsiding. You starting to see images, but it ain't no mirages. Think it's time to calibrate. Take a breath and concentrate. Get into your subconscious. Time to feel the energy, the brain waves. Let's go deep into your memory. Beware of self, let the worries melt. All you see is you and you don't see no one else. Auditory digital, talking to yourself. It might seem bizarre, a feeling you never felt. This is your time to shine. Awaken the mind, the NLP and hypnosis guide.